Are you an aspiring animal communicator who's taken an introductory class, or maybe just had some beginner's luck on your own where you've had communication with animals? Or have you ever wondered what it takes to go from these random, spontaneous communications where you're like, oh my God, that really happened, to really reliable on-demand animal communication on purpose when you want it? How do you make the leap from it happens sometimes to it happens all the time, from I'm at the mercy of circumstances to I know how to do this and I can make it happen? That's what I'm going to talk about in this video. Hi, I'm Dr. Cara, professional animal communicator, founder of the Animal Wisdom Circle, and creator of How to Talk to Your Pet, the proven 4-step system that teaches anyone and everyone how to communicate intuitively with their pets or with any animal. And if you want to become an animal communicator, I believe that you can do it. And I want to help you. So I want to tell you about my client, Wendy, who is kind of like every client I ever had and myself back before I learned how to do this reliably. She told me that animal communication was this kind of random, spontaneous occurrence. And when it happened, it was super exciting, but it was not reliable. She didn't know what she was doing until she put together a few habits that really helped her make the leap from the occasional to the regular animal communication. And these are the top 10 tips that I share with my students in my beginning and advanced classes, in my mentoring programs. This is what I think it really takes to go from sometimes to whenever I want. And that's where I want people to get. I want you to take that leap from I don't know how to do this, I don't know how it happened, like curious, like what the heck happened here, to confident, where I can do this, I know how to do this, and I'm good at it. So let's go through these 10 tips. And I've got a bonus tip at the end that is something that I love to do with my students. So it's super fun. I'll share that with you at the end. But this is kind of the order that I think you should build these habits into your daily or weekly routine, and they will slowly start working their magic for you. So tip number 1 is to start with your strength. So animal communication happens through any of our senses. We might see things, we might hear things, we might feel things in our body, we might have emotions, we might have sensations, physical sensations like nausea or pain or dizziness or different kinds of things like that. And everybody has a naturally easy way that they're wired. That's the easiest sense for them to use. So those are the top 5 animal communicator types. And if you are trying to become an animal communicator and you're not using your strength, it's going to be really hard and really frustrating. So tip number 1 is to start with your strength. And if you don't know what your easiest way to get intuitive information is, then there's a link below here that has a link to my quiz where you can take a 30-second quiz, and I will give you the results and help you understand yourself better and recognize your strength so that you can start from your strength. So you can push the easy button, and then you can build out the rest of those senses as you go along, but get some success under your belt first. So start with your strength. Number 2, and I was just saying this to a potential student the other day, I said, when you take my introductory class, my beginner class, the first thing I'm going to say to you is start a daily meditation practice. And I'm not teaching another class for a few months. So I told her, like, until then, start doing that. Get ahead of the game. Meditate every day. What you're doing is training your brain how to turn off the thoughts, how to focus on receiving, how to just really let go. And that's really important for setting the stage to recognize the sometimes incredibly subtle pieces of information that come with animal communication. So if you don't have a daily meditation practice, start, and it can be 1 minute a day. I don't care how long it is, just do it every day. And if you like it, you will build up to more and more and more. But the repetition of doing that every day is the really important part, where you're really training your brain about how to shift from the thinking left brain into the receiving right brain. And that is critical for animal communication. Tip number 3, practice. So if you've taken an animal communication class, even if it's been a while, go back, practice those skills. There is amazing magic that happens. And sometimes it's like this quantum thing where you're practicing. It seems like nothing's happening. And then one day it all clicks. And I've seen this happen with my students so many times. So whatever you're doing, practice. And once a week, take 5 minutes, take 10 minutes, just connect with an animal, open your mind up, ask them a question, see what happens, monitor your body, monitor your intuition, but just get in the habit of practicing that skill of quieting your mind, asking a question, and then paying attention to your intuition. That's going to work wonders for you. Tip number 4, live your life within a spiritual context. What do I mean by that? I really mean that anytime you engage on working towards a goal, obstacles are going to come up. That's totally natural, right? If you start training for a marathon, you're going to get blisters on your feet. You're going to get sore muscles. You're going to get aches and pains and fatigue and, all kinds of stuff. You're going to, get the wrong size clothes. I don't know. But you're going to have some obstacles come up. When you live your life within a spiritual context, you'll understand that some of those obstacles are going to be inner obstacles. They're going to be your old thought patterns that aren't really a match for where you're going. They were fine in your past, but they don't fit with your future. So as you move towards your goal, you're practicing animal communication, you're moving towards that goal of becoming an animal communicator. Some of the obstacles that you'll encounter will be your habitual thoughts. They will be your belief system. And your belief system can be updated, which is really, really good news. So you might have some negative self-talk like, oh, you'll never be able to do this. Oh, you don't have a gift. If you don't have it now, you'll never have it. Those are negative limiting beliefs. Those are obstacles to be cleared on your way to success. So don't let them stop you. They're not the truth. But when you put your endeavor within the spiritual context of, I'm going to heal personal stuff on my way to succeeding, that's just part of the path, then you'll start to recognize these negative self-talk habits and limiting beliefs not as the truth. You're not good enough, you're not smart enough, you don't work hard enough, whatever those words are that you're saying to yourself in your brain. It's not true. It's an old limiting belief that's coming up to be healed. And when you're working within that spiritual context, you understand that that's what's going to happen. And then you can heal those limitations. Number 5 is non-attachment. You guys, this might be the hardest one, because non-attachment means I'm not in charge of getting the answer right. I'm not in charge of what somebody does with that answer. I'm not in charge of fixing or changing a situation. My only responsibility as an animal communicator is to show up and be the best channel for the animal's messages that I can be. So most of the time when we start a new endeavor, we want some positive feedback that we're on the right track, that we're doing a good job. And with animal communication, that often looks like, I got the right answer. And in the beginning, that's a total trap, because the right answer is a left brain judgment about the situation. So you don't know what's going to happen when you say, their favorite toy is a basketball versus their favorite toy is a frisbee. We don't know the magic that's going to happen. We don't know the right answer. We never know the right answer as animal communicators. All we can do is share the messages that we're getting. And non-attachment is a big challenge because that means we don't get that feedback in the beginning that we got the answer right. And that's frustrating because that's kind of the encouragement that a lot of us need to keep going with something. Oh, I got that right. Good. I'm good at this. I can keep going. But it's more important to practice a whole bunch and never know if you got the right answer or not than it is to practice a few times and get the right answer every time. You're going to make much more progress if you just go and talk to 100 dogs at a shelter than if you talk to one dog really focus on getting it right. Talk to 100 dogs. Don't care about what you say. You're just spewing it out. That sensor, just don't even worry about it. You're going to get much farther along on the process and get better at animal communication if you can be non-attached to the outcome, not attached to getting it right. So practice non-attachment. All right, number 6. Partner with somebody, find a buddy and do this together. Set a date. Maybe it's you meet someplace and you go talk to animals, or maybe it's just somebody you report back to. Hey, I went and I talked to this cat, or I saw a bird today and I just talked to the bird. Whatever it is, have a partner, have a buddy. The success, the community support is super, super helpful. And this was a really big part of my personal journey. My friend Ellery and I met once a week for 2 hours, and we would just go talk to different animals for 2 hours every week. And it gradually built up my confidence. So find somebody that you can talk to online, in person, doesn't matter, but having a partner, having some support is going to really keep you going. And that's the biggest thing. Like, just keep going, keep practicing, keep showing up no matter what. Practice. Number 7 is work with different animals. So one of the really big obstacles that beginning animal communicators have is working with animals that they know, because their left brain goes, well, you already know that animal. You already know the answer to that question. You know who his favorite friend is, what his favorite food is, where he likes to go, all of those things, right? So it's really hard to get into that place of neutrality and curiosity. So if you can find different animals to work with, and again, don't even worry about getting the answers right. Just go find them, go talk to them on the street, or volunteer at your local shelter, talk to each animal there, the cats, the dogs, the horses, the guinea pigs, whoever it is. We're all taught don't talk to strangers as kids, but this case is really important. Talk to animals that you don't already know, that you don't know the answers to the questions that you're going to ask, that you have no way of saying, oh, I already knew that, because you know nothing about these animals. So you'll just get to that neutral place a lot more easily, and it's a lot easier to turn off that left thinking brain and turn on the right receiving brain when we just don't know. So work with different animals. Number 8 is practice in different situations. So really kind of organize your practice sessions into different scenarios. So is a dog sick? Is it injured? Is it aggressive? Are there behavioral issues? Is the dog getting older, just aging, getting towards the end of life? Is the dog getting ready to pass over? Try all these different kind of scenarios and get comfortable in a lot of different situations. All of these situations happen. These are the reasons that people come to animal communicators. So whether you just want to help the animals in your family, or be available to help your friends, or volunteer as an animal communicator at your local shelter, or someday you want to become a professional, practicing in these different situations is going to get you comfortable with all of the different avenues that animal communication can take. And the more you get comfortable with the different situations, the more you can really settle into the process and be successful and focus. So I really recommend trying different types of situations and using those as, learning opportunities, expansion, growth opportunities. Number nine is doing animal communication sessions in a group setting so that you have more than one person communicating with the same animal about the same topic. So if you have a group of friends and you can all go to, a friend's house and talk to their dog or their cat or their goldfish. And then everybody compares notes afterwards. I did that with Ellery a lot. We would go and we'd do our own thing and we'd come back and compare notes. And the amount of overlap we got was amazing, like 90% overlap. And then there was always a few things that she would get and I wouldn't, and I would get and that she wouldn't. But having that much overlap really was a great validation that I was on the right track as I was practicing. And in a lot of ways, I think it's more valuable than getting the right answer. It's just getting the same answer as somebody else. So do some group sessions, compare some notes, see how much overlap there is. Again, not attached to who got it right, who got it wrong, but setting up a lot of practice sessions so that you start to get really comfortable with the ins and the outs of doing this and teaching your brain how to do this kind of work. Number 10, and this one, I'm not sure how I want to say it, but it's really kind of like find somebody more advanced on the path. So find a mentor, find a friend, find a teacher, find somebody who is at least a little bit better than you that you can ask questions to, because a lot of questions come up. And a lot of them can be very subtle and they might not show up until you're in the situation. So if you can take a class with a teacher, that's fantastic. I partnered with my friend Ellery and she was more experienced than me. So I could ask her questions like, wow, I got really distracted this time. What do you do when that happens? Or gosh, why am I feeling like I'm getting it right, but I'm not getting it right? Or, all kinds of stuff. Or what do you do in this situation? What if I ask a practical question and I get a very vague spiritual answer? How do I make sense of that? There's so many things to explore in the whole process on the path to becoming a confident animal communicator. And having somebody that you can ask questions to is super, super valuable. And it really reminds all of us, it's okay to be a beginner. It's okay not to have all the answers. And we can get better. These are skills we can practice. We can learn how to get better at doing this work. So find a teacher, get some help. The bonus tip. So that was my top 10 tips. And the bonus tip that I want to leave you with is as an affirmation. And one of my students came up with this affirmation in our beginning animal communication class a few years ago. And I just thought it just really struck me as wonderful. And so now I use it in all my classes and I want to gift it to you as well. And it's the affirmation. And it goes like this: I am an animal communicator. I communicate with animals and they communicate with me. It's that simple. It's that simple. I am an animal communicator. You are an animal communicator. You're communicating with animals all the time. They're communicating with you all the time. And if you can do that reinforcement for yourself, it will start to really heal a lot of that negative self-talk that I talked about earlier. So those are my top 10 tips, plus my favorite affirmation. And I hope it helps you because I really want you to go from, this is really cool, but I don't know how it happened, to I got this. I know what to do. I can do this. I can handle this. And I want you to become confident. And what I've noticed is a lot of students will take a beginning class and then they'll kind of lose practice and think it was a fluke and all those kinds of things. So hopefully this gives you a little bit of structure for the habits you can build into your practice. So whether you want to take a class or practice on your own, you have some guidance and some guidelines for things that you can do that will really, really help you. And if you've already taken a beginning class with me or anybody else, I do have my advanced class opening up and starting this week in January, middle of January 2022. And if all of these tips sound really good, I've incorporated all of them and more into my advanced animal communication class. And there's a link below here where you can get all the details about that class. I love helping animal lovers become animal communicators. And I can't think of a better way to spend my time or a better thing to do for the planet than to help animal lovers become animal communicators. It's good for you. It's good for the animals you interact with. It's good for humanity. It's good for the planet. And it's a calling that if it's calling you, it wants to be fulfilled. And I would love to help you fulfill it. So if you want to work with me, check out my advanced animal communication class starting January 2022 and my beginning animal communication class, how to talk to your pet, starting in April 2022. And there are details below. Until we meet again, keep practicing, keep going. You are an animal communicator. You talk to animals and animals talk to you. Have a great day.